Hey guys, it's Awesome Night here with MegaNerd Squad, and I just had to get with you guys to get this out of me because it's been building up kind of ever since the Rise of Skywalker's release, and it's something that just really bothered me, and it's just continued to like fester. So I just want to talk about my proposal on how the Rise of Skywalker could have been saved and could have been one of the coolest ones in the entire saga. Today I just wanted to gripe basically about the Rise of Skywalker and how I think it could have been saved. I think there's a lot of things that could have been done from a structural standpoint that I disagree with. First off, let me just say, the Emperor coming back, I didn't like the idea of that, but as I thought about it before the movie came out, I thought, we don't know if he's back in the flesh. And I was pretty much hoping that he wasn't back in the flesh. Turns out right at the beginning of the movie he is, and those parts in the movie are the best parts in the movie. They're very dark, and I think they did a really good job with those parts, but I also agree that they shouldn't have been there in the first place. I think Palpatine should have been back in this movie as some sort of an evil Sith Force ghost. And I know that that kind of goes against the rules of Force ghosts and everything. It's only Jedi that can do it. But, if he can survive from Return of the Jedi, which just shouldn't happen because he died in that movie. So you're not only retconning The Last Jedi, you're retconning Return of the Jedi, and it's also taken away from, Darth Vader's whole redemption arc. So, I don't like that. I think that the Knights of Ren should have been subbed in for Palpatine in this movie. The coolest thing about Star Wars is the Jedi and the Sith. Now, the Knights of Ren are known that they're not Sith. That's been established already. But I think that this movie could have started out with the Knights of Ren searching for this force that they've felt, or this evil force that has let itself be known. And you don't have to change the script too much. I just think you sub out Palpatine and put in the Knights of Ren. Make them awesome. You had a blank canvas with the Knights of Ren, and just because they weren't developed in The Last Jedi doesn't mean that you should just not use them at all. So, my proposal would have been to have them go with Kylo at the beginning of this film to the outer regions, some very dark place, which is exactly what Exegol was, something exactly like that, and have his Force Ghost, an evil, different type of looking Force Ghost. Maybe it's like more smoke, or just even his presence, maybe his voice. He should have persuaded these Knights of Ren, including Kylo, all 7 of them, because Kylo has a lightsaber and the other 6 don't, which I hate. I know they're not Sith, but neither is Kylo Ren, and he has a lightsaber. So I think they should have been given lightsabers. I think the Emperor should have had a moment with these Knights, who should have had an awesome intro, not like they did in this Rise of Skywalker. They should have been intimidating. We should have met the second in command as far as the Knights of Ren. Kylo is the leader. There should have been a guy that is just as powerful but is not the leader, who becomes the leader basically when Kylo has his arc. And anyway, Exegol, they should have found the Emperor's presence, where kind of his presence resides, or something to do with Emperor Palpatine. And he tells them to become the Sith, basically. And you get a whole sequence where these Knights of Ren are constructing their own lightsabers, or having them constructed, and creating, even cooler wardrobe. I think their wardrobe's cool, but I think they could have had even a little bit of an upgrade. Another thing I would have done was automatically, I would like Kylo Ren. It's a cool scene when his helmet is being remade, put back together, but I think he should have just had a level up on the helmet. Get a whole bunch of artistic people in a room and concept design, a new rendition of a more powerful helmet that's more fitting for a Supreme Leader, in my opinion. It should have been even more towards the Darth Vader, look. A little bit bigger, better. That's pretty much my thoughts on that. The title is... It doesn't work for me. It sounds awesome. The Rise of Skywalker, it got me really pumped up. I was like, okay, I'm ready to see what this means. This Rise of Skywalker. What is the Rise of Skywalker going to be? And ultimately, I understand what they were going for. It's that Rey is a Palpatine, but she considers herself a Skywalker, and she rises at the end of the film. It just doesn't make sense to me. I thought Luke would in some way have more involvement as Force Ghost. I love the scene with him as Force Ghost and bringing the X-Wing out of the water. I like that JJ tried to fix those things, but I think he went even a little bit too much. But I still appreciate him for keeping the fans in mind and trying to, please the fans. I hate the, what's it called? The thing that they, the triangle thing that they have that just tries to keep the plot moving forward. I think that was unnecessary. I also think that, having new characters are cool and all, but we didn't really need that, in my opinion. I think it could have been the second scene right after the open of the Knights of Ren going to Exegol, meeting the Emperor, him telling his elaborate plan and persuading them to become Sith, and pretty much, like a knight would do, basically in England, is kneel in front of the Queen and she knights him. That's kind of how this should have went out. They could have found this Emperor, no kneeling or any goofy shit like that, but they should have had a moment there where, oh shit, the Knights of Ren are here, we have not seen them yet, and they should have become Sith. And for the title, The Rise of Skywalker, I don't think works, because for me there isn't a Rise of Skywalker. I think this movie should have been titled Return of the Sith. Even had it just been the way that it is, I think Return of the Sith is a better name for it, because it is the Return of the Sith. Palpatine has returned. He is the Sith Lord. So that would have been a more fitting title for this movie. I know it's on the dark side, but I think it would be more interesting. It's more of a challenge there. You should have had all of these Knights of Ren be awesome badasses, just as awesome as Kylo Ren. You would have 7 of them, up until Kylo's arc. But then you would have pretty much what happened anyway. He fights them, but it would have been more elaborate and more awesome. The fight between Kylo and the Knights reminded me of Revenge of the Sith, when Palpatine just popped up and sliced down 3 Jedi Masters within like 5 seconds. That sucked, and I hated that part in a great movie. That was just a stupid part. But yes, I do strongly feel this movie should have been changed structurally. I like Palpatine being involved. Do I like him being alive in the flesh? No. Do I like that he's the grandfather of Rey? No. Who was... What was he on Tinder? I don't get it. Who was he banging? Execute Order 69? No. Ugh. What? It doesn't make sense. I like that there's some lineage with her being relevant to her parents are, because it's a big question in the first movie of this trilogy, The Force Awakens, who her parents are. It's never elaborated on. It was a good assist. I like The Force Awakens. It's the best one in this trilogy. And I like things about The Last Jedi, but I don't appreciate the fact that Rian Johnson just kind of went his own way with it. But I will say that The Rise of Skywalker wasn't a total loss. I think it was a good attempt. I just disagree with some of the direction structurally, with how bringing the Emperor back in the flesh, I don't agree with that. So that's would have been my suggestion, I guess, and it is now. I was really pumped for this movie. I couldn't wait to see the Knights of Ren. The Sith and Jedi are absolutely my favorite parts about Star Wars. That's why I'm also a fan of the prequel trilogy. I loved those movies growing up. So I was really pumped up to see this, 7-on-1 battle or 6-on-2 battle. Kylo could have been fighting 5 of the Knights of Ren, and the new Supreme Leader, Rey could have been fighting. Yeah, have someone die. Have Kylo die. Maybe have Rey die. Doesn't matter to me. Have them both live. But they should have just kept the story that was already established instead of shoehorning in the Emperor. I got excited when I heard the sinister laugh. I'll go back and even say I didn't even know it was the Emperor the first time I heard it. It got me pumped. And then it was elaborated and revealed on that it was Ian McDiarmid returning as the Emperor. And I was just like, what? Okay. And I was like, well, it's in good hands, so they're obviously going to, not do anything too drastic. But they totally retconned not only The Last Jedi, they retconned the ending of Return of the Jedi. So I didn't appreciate that. I like the idea of him being back. I think evil Force Ghost, I would have been A-okay with that. To find out that even Sith can kind of have this afterlife in some sort of way in the Force, because the Force is a balance. It's a yin and yang type of thing. I think it would have been fine. And he persuades them to be Sith. That's why it's called Return of the Sith. That's the way I would have done it. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed the content, hit the like, hit the share. Let me know your thoughts. Light it up in the comment section if you want to. You can't hurt my feelings. I really would have liked to see the Knights of Ren transition into being Sith and have this movie be just as dark. Sub out Palps. Put in my boys, the Knights of Ren, who were not given any justice. But I am excited about this comic book that was just released, so I'm gonna start checking those out. I think it's not a total loss. I think there can be an anthology movie of the Knights of Ren, perhaps, and make them a lot cooler. And there's still hope. So anyway, that's all I got for you today. Austin Knight from MegaNerd Squad, out.